Question 3. Company has several unencrypted Amazon EBS snapshots in its Amazon VPC. The solutions architect must ensure that all of the new EBS snapshots restored from the unencrypted snapshots are automatically encrypted. What should be done to accomplish this requirement? Launch new EBS volumes and specify the symmetric encryption, AWS KMS keys for encryption. Launch new EBS volumes and encrypt them using asymmetric AWS KMS keys. Enable the EBS encryption by default feature for specific EBS volumes. Enable EBS encryption by default feature for the AWS region. Okay, so we have unencrypted snapshots. We must ensure that all new snapshots, all new rather volumes restored from unencrypted snapshots are automatically encrypted. I think we can just switch encryption by default feature. Let's see. Yeah, that's correct. So other answers are not correct because launching new EBS volumes and encrypting using asymmetric keys is incorrect because EBS does not primarily support asymmetric KMS keys to encrypt EBS snapshot. You need to use symmetric encryption keys. But also the other answer is not correct because we can enable data encryption that will be manual and can potentially cause some unencrypted EBS volumes to be launched. A better solution is to, technically we could launch new EBS volumes and specify symmetric encryption using KMS keys. But that'll be just manual and potentially can cause unencrypted EBS volumes to be launched. A better solution is to enable EBS encryption by default feature. It's stated in the scenario that all of the new EBS volumes restored from unencrypted snapshot must be automatically encrypted. That was a requirement also to make it automatically. The last option was enable EBS encryption by default feature for specific EBS volumes is incorrect because encryption by default features region specific setting, and thus you can enable it to select the EBS volumes only. So we can configure your account to enforce the encryption of the new EBS volumes and snapshot copies that you create. For example, Amazon EBS encrypts the EBS volumes created when you launch an instance and the snapshots that you copy from an unencrypted snapshot. So that's easiest settings. Account attributes, EBS encryption, account attribute. And when we click there, we can see that it's enabled for new EBS volumes. The setting above only applies to the Europe region. Choose another region to change the settings for that region. You can only launch instance types that support EBS encryption once you enable account level encryption. Encryption by default has no effect on existing EBS volumes or snapshots. The following are important considerations in EBS encryption. Encryption by default is region specific setting. If you enable it for region, you cannot disable it for individual volumes or snapshots in that region. Okay. When you enable encryption by default, you can launch an instance only if the instance type supports EBS encryption. Okay, and Amazon EBS does not support asymmetric keys. You cannot change the KMS keys that is associated with an existing snapshot or encrypted volume. However, you can associate a different KMS keys during a snapshot copy operation so that the resulting copied snapshot is encrypted by the new KMS keys. Although there is no direct way to encrypt an existing unencrypted volume or snapshot, okay, so we cannot encrypt already existing snapshot or volume. You can encrypt them by creating either a volume or a snapshot. If you enable encryption by default, Amazon EBS encrypts the resulting new volume or snapshot using your default keys for EBS encryption. Even if you have not enabled encryption by default, you can enable encryption when you create an individual volume snapshot. Whenever you enable encryption by default or in individual creation operations, you can override the default key for EBS encryption and use symmetric encryption KMS keys. Okay. Yes, that's the answer. If you want to, if we have unencrypted snapshots, EBS snapshots, to encrypt all the new snapshots, or to ensure that all the new EBS volumes restored from unencrypted snapshots are automatically encrypted. To ensure that, we need to to do it automatically. The easiest option is to enable EBS encryption by default feature for the AWS region.